Hello again. Yes, I know. It's the end of November and we shouldn't be outside. But as you know, I'll take every opportunity, if the weather is nice, to be outdoors and try to share those moments with you. It's fall, it's winter, it's also Beaujolais time, of course, because of the date of the Beaujolais Nouveau. But it's kind of, to me, it also sets the clock on the kind of things you want to be drinking and the kind of things you want to be enjoying. Anyway, we had, with this organization I'm helping with, the Alliance Française of Westchester, we had a Beaujolais wine tasting yesterday that was helping put together. And so I'm going to replicate today the same thing we did yesterday with 3 Beaujolais from the Chermet family. And we're going to go through them one by one. There's no Beaujolais Nouveau here because of the timing. We just couldn't get it delivered. It was just too close. And so we went with some of their other wines. Terrific family, terrific property. Chermet, again, going back, as is often the case, over 100 years, and also alliances with the Vissou family, who is the people from the Vissou village. So you have Chermet Vissou that renamed itself to Chermet over the last generation with Pierre Henry, and his mother was a Vissou, his father was a Chermet. His wife Martine came from the commercial and sort of advertising business. And his son is now in his 30s and he's taken over the property. They've kind of expanded over the last 20 years, buying some more cru areas in the north, but their base is really in the Saint-Véran, the other Saint-Véran village in the south, sort of southwest corner of Beaujolais, with they have a lot of granitic soil, which is unusual in the south, and they have some of the usual lime-based soil for their Chardonnay. They make a lot of different wines. They make red, they make rosé, white, Crémant de Bourgogne, also with the bubbly or mousseux they call it. Back in the 80s, 90s, when Pierre Henry took over, he really wanted to help put Beaujolais back into the more traditional ways of making wine, more natural, less of that sort of chaptalization, less sugar, less artificial yeasts, less sulfates, all that stuff. And so he was really a big part of what put Beaujolais back on what a lot of us think is really the right track, making really nice wines for what they are, from good terroirs, and being a lot more natural than they kind of were, direction they were going in. And he's won a lot of recognition from commercially and from critics, both in the U.S. and in Europe, in France. And we're gonna taste some of his wines. So the first one here is a sorry, I don't know if it's a Origine. It's a Beaujolais vieille vigne, really old, sort of 40-50-year-old vines from their village down in the south in granitic soil. And it's it's not a Beaujolais Nouveau, but it's really young. It's a 2020 wine. It's aged it's fermented for 7 days. They cut the fermentation. It's aged only in steel tanks for 6 months, and this is what you get. I don't know if you can see the color is really more on it's got a little bit of that sort of pinkish tint that you have in a Beaujolais Nouveau, sort of light purple, pinkish. I call it pinkish. You know what I mean? And on the nose, you get that fruit, that sort of floral fruit, I call it, which is very typical of Beaujolais Nouveau, but it's got a little bit more of a layer beyond that. I would say it's sharp red fruits. So it's a little bit acidic, a little bit aggressive. It's young. I mean, it's sort of fun for what it is, but I don't know that I would really seek it out. I think it's the kind of wine you want to drink in this time of year. You'll have a couple of bottles over a week or two, and then you sort of move on to the cruise. But it is very charming, really, for that kind of young Beaujolais that you can buy, and you can probably keep it for a few years. I'm trying to rush through this, forgive me, but the second one we had was a Fleury. This is they have 2 Fleuries. This is Les Garants, 2019. And so it's a Gamay also. It's from the Fleury region, which is a lot further north. And the maceration is a little longer. You know, we're talking more closer to 10 days of fermentation. Then it's aged in food, maybe primarily like 80-90% in big old food, neutral food, and 10-20% in oak barrels that have been used maybe once or twice. So it's a different profile, but it's the same grape, different terroir, different vinification, and then it's bottled up. And that's something, that's a Fleury. Fleury is known as the sort of the queen of Beaujolais, if you want, because it's known as the feminine cru, and then we're going to find out if that's true. On the nose, it's just a lot less sharp, a lot less aggressive. It's got some sweetness to it, which I've also noticed. Of course, it's not the first time I try these, but and it's a little more settled down. It's not like wow in your face like the Origine. Let's see. It's got some sweet accent to it, and I felt it from the first time. Now it's dissipating a little bit because this wine's been open for a couple of days and it's sort of evolving, and it has what I would call a little bit of a milk chocolate, feel to it. A little more creamy, a little more sweet, which is very, very interesting. And maybe that's why I don't know. It's supposed to be feminine or the queen of Beaujolais, but it's really just a little bit more refined. You kind of start thinking about, okay, what can I have this with? You could probably have it as an appetizer, as a aperitif. You could have it with something sweet or some chocolate. It's the sweetness turned me off at the beginning, like a couple of days ago, but now it's really well integrated, and I think it is really charming again for what it is. It's got that sort of a little bit of that rose water also, second layer of taste. The finish is nice. It doesn't really go away very quickly. Really very nice quality Fleury. And this is the last one we had. It's a Moulin à Vent. Moulin à Vent is it's funny because it's called the king of Beaujolais because it's more masculine. Moulin à Vent is something we need to talk about. Maybe we have in the past. The region where the moulin is, where the mill is, on that hill, is very granitic, like all the crus in Beaujolais. But that specific one is very rich in magnesium. They used to actually have a mine there back in the days. And magnesium is somewhat toxic to vines. So as a result, the vines struggle even more. And they get, they don't produce as much. The yield is a lot lower. They're more concentrated. So the toxicity of the magnesium contributes really to the terroir and the kind of wines you grow there. This is from three different, that's why it's called Les Trois Roches, three different plots. One provides more finesse, one provides more structure, one provides concentration. They age them separately. It's the same kind of process, but a little bit more oak and a few more days of maceration. A little bit more new oak, so the proportion is maybe 70-30, and then they blend them when they bottle them. So that's kind of the process. This is also 2019. Now this is just really, I think, more along my own, sort of taste. It's got that structure. It reminds you a little bit of a nice Burgundy. We've talked about this when we were tasting the old the Morgon, the centenary vine Morgon together, and it's savory. There's no sweetness there. It's got some of these red fruits, deeper red fruits, maybe cassis and some raspberry, but not necessarily super sweet. And in the mouth, it really has some salinity, which is kind of hard to explain in a way because it's not near the ocean in any way, shape, or form. And these are southwest facing hills, so they're not even facing towards. I mean, I guess southwest, but they're not really western facing. They get a lot of sun in the afternoon. It's sort of a different kind of ripening schedule, and so they just this Moulin à Vent is really something I like. And again, the salinity throws another wrench in the thing, and it makes it something that you want to really have with your meal as you prepare the fleury. If you want to have it a little bit with your dessert, which is also unusual for a red wine. It's getting better every day, and that's the advantage of opening these wines in advance. It's really a nice balance between savory and fruit, and it's got a little bit of tannin. It's got the finish. It's really just a beautiful little wine that is very easy to enjoy. Cheers to the Chermet family, and cheers to you, and we'll see you soon.